Good day, folks, and welcome back to Ed's Garage at Merton Hyundai. Today we're doing a comparison video. So you've got $40,000 odd burning a hole in your pocket and you want to buy a sporty mid-size sedan. What do? Do you get something with lots of horsepower, with go fast attitude, and burns a lot of fuel? Well, a lot of fuel. It's pretty fuel efficient, I'll be honest. Or do you get something more fuel efficient in a hybrid that's still quite peppy, and honestly, with that electric motor attached, actually has pretty good acceleration off the line? So today we're looking at the 2021 Nissan Maxima Platinum 300 horsepower V6, made into a CVT for some silly reason. Or we're also looking at the 2021 Hyundai Sonata hybrid in the ultimate trim. Now you can probably guess which one I like better, but I'm going to go over both vehicles and show you why. Now this isn't just a Nissan Maxima versus Hyundai Sonata comparison. This is a Hyundai versus Nissan comparison. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the nitpicky little things that most people don't talk about, and the reasons why you should be looking at Hyundai products in general. Now, first off, there's going to be some Nissan fanboys and fangirls out there that say, well, yeah, but Nissan's got a great track record, they're reliable, etc., etc. Well, if you look up CVT class action on Google, you may change your mind about that. When it comes to CVT transmissions, unfortunately, their track record hasn't been great. In any event, the current Nissan Maxima for 2021 is a nice car. It is reliable, but there's some little things that, again, I'm going to show you why you should seriously consider a Hyundai if you haven't already. Don't get me wrong, this is a nice car, but the Sonata is a little nicer. And wouldn't you rather get a brand new car and go on a trip to Mexico with the same amount of money? All right, check it out. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start at the very front of the vehicle, and then we're going to make our way to the back in the trunk, and then finally inside the vehicle. Now, as far as styling goes, looks are subjective. I think they both look very, very nice. Nissan's kind of going with the traditional grille there. That's kind of been around on Nissan for a while now. It looks really good. Hyundai came out with something pretty radically different for the Sonata versus the previous year. You still get the hexagonal grille in the front, but things like the headlights, the lines, the fact that they've got this interesting little LED strip that merges into the chrome there, all of that was pretty cool and pretty new. And a couple of really cool things going further back that I'm really excited to talk about. But anyway, let's start with the headlights. So on the Nissan Maxima, you do get LED headlights and high beams, and also LED fog lights. But you'll notice right over here, we got some fake plastic venting, nothing actually going through there. Along the front, the grille looks pretty nice. A little bit of dead panel there, and they've got the autonomous braking and adaptive cruise radar system in behind the badge. We do have some front parking sensors on here as well. I don't see any on the side though, oddly enough. So we've got the one there and the one there. So only two front sensors. But have a look at the windshield here. You can see we've got the forward-facing camera. That, of course, is for the pedestrian detection, as well as the lane guidance, the intelligent lane guidance assist, or whatever it is they call it. You've also got the infrared sensor here for the automatic wipers. All right, let's look at the front of the Sonata. All right, so on the front of the Sonata, so first glance, you'll notice no fake vents. This is actually Hyundai's air curtain pass-through. Basically, that creates a curtain of air over the wheels to reduce drag. So it's going to increase fuel economy by reducing drag. It's not a fake vent. It's actually a fully functional piece of technology, or not technology, but piece of design that helps fuel efficiency. The headlights themselves are LED headlights and high beams, and of course you get the LED daytime running lights. We don't have fog lights. So that's one place that the Nissan actually beats out the Sonata. There's no fog lights on the Sonata. All right, now you'll notice we do have the parking sensors on the front, but there's actually two hidden inside the grille. Now I actually had to check the Nissan because I thought maybe they hid theirs in the grille too, but no, they've only got the two on the outsides. So 4 parking sensors across the front. Of course, you have your camera right there as well. Now the Nissan does have a forward-facing camera on the grille. Let's have a quick look, see where that's located. All right, so theirs is hiding right under here, so out of sight, which is kind of nice. Back to the Hyundai, like the Nissan, the radar is hidden in the badge. All right, also looking at the front, so we got the windshield here. Of course, you have the same forward-facing camera system for pedestrian detection, autonomous emergency braking, adaptive cruise, lane keep assist, all of that stuff. But that actually also has a couple other functions. One is cyclist detection and the other is junction assist. So what junction assist means is if you're making a left turn, basically it'll detect any cars coming towards you and it'll prevent your vehicle from moving forward through a left turn if it's unsafe to do so. So cyclist detection and junction assist are two technologies in the 21 Sonata and quite frankly other Hyundai models that you won't see in all the Nissan models. All right, so going back to the Nissan Maxima, having a look at the side profile, it's a nice looking car. You got this cool little swoopy wavy line that goes down the back. The side rocker panel skirts are kind of cool looking as well. This one does sit on 19-inch alloy wheels, so aluminum alloy wheels are 245/40 19s. They are a Goodyear Eagle Touring, a good tire. They are mud and snow all season as well. And then having a look at the side mirror, you can see we've got the side marker lights as well as the little camera on the mirror right there. So you got the little bump, and then in the mirror, check it out, no blind spot monitor. That's interesting. Okay, I wasn't even aware of the fact that this vehicle didn't have blind spot monitoring. That's crazy on a 2021 basically top trim. How do you explain that? Okay, let's look further down the side of the car. You've got chrome handles on this one and they don't light up or anything. Is there a light on the bottom of the mirror? No. Okay, we've got a double panel sunroof, so it's not a panoramic roof, it's actually double panel. It starts here, stops here, starts here, stops here. I'll show you the inside a little bit later. Let's have a look at the Sonata. So on the Sonata, of course, these need to be aerodynamic wheels because it's a hybrid. Now, if you do want to get the larger rims, you can actually get the ultimate version of the Sonata, which kind of compares closer to the Maxima, but I was going more by price. Now, this is a 17-inch aluminum alloy wheel, so the Nissan takes it on the wheels here. The Ultimate, of course, does have 19-inch, but you got 17-inch aluminum alloy wheels. Pretty nice looking wheel, even though they are a aero wheel. But check this out, they're actually wrapped in Pirelli P0 all-season tires. How cool is that? So really, really good tires. Now the side skirts on the Sonata are black. That's a nice touch. You've got the marker lights in the mirrors, and you've also got the little bump there for the mirror. I think Hyundai does a little bit of a better job hiding that bump. And then in the mirror, of course, the blind spot monitoring. Now, the Hyundai Sonata does not have a sunroof in the hybrid trim. You can get a full panoramic roof in the Ultimate trim. So if you opt for the lower priced Ultimate trim, you can get the panoramic roof, which quite frankly is a lot nicer than a double panel sunroof. However, in the hybrid, you have something even more intriguing. You've got a solar panel. Check that out. So that solar panel in sunlight like this will actually provide about 6 kilometers of daily driving in sunlight like this. That's pretty good. I mean, a lot of people don't even go farther than that when they're going to and from work. So kind of a neat technology, neat add-on, and just a little bit additional fuel savings. Now having a look at the side profile of the Sonata, also a very handsome design. You've got a cut line right from the front wheel well that goes all the way back over the rear wheel well, and now that line was actually pinned in the very first drawing of the Sonata, and it made it all the way to production model. That's pretty unique, guys. That doesn't happen very often. So cool design there. But let's have a look at the back of the vehicles now. We're going to start with the Nissan Maxima. Guys, I apologize if I'm getting a little bit of wind noise on my camera here, or my microphone. It's up here and I've got a bit of a sock on it, but it doesn't do a hell of a lot, so I apologize if there's a lot of wind noise. So on the back of the Nissan Maxima, one thing that we don't have is a dual exhaust. This one has quad exhaust. Check it out. You got the 2 pipes on both sides. They are chrome tipped and they are real. They're not fake. You do also have 4 parking sensors along the back here, and LED tail lights. Looks like LED backup lights and brakes as well. And to access the trunk in this one, there's a little button right down here. And you'll see when it opens up that far. Now that's important because I'm going to show you the difference on the Sonata. But let's open it up all the way. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can see the space in here or not, but check it out. It's not bad. This is about the same space that I would expect to see in a compact sedan, not in a mid-size sedan. So a rather small trunk. However, you'll notice that the arms of the trunk lid do not encroach into the trunk space, so they're not going to be crushing anything back here, so that's good to see. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Man, this wind is really picking up. Okay, so we're going to grab the trunk floor here, and I want you to see. So the trunk floor is basically insulation with some sort of covering on it. But under the trunk floor, you've got this piece of pressed board, and underneath that, you've got these little pieces of like styrofoam kind of holding this thing up, okay? A little bit more of sort of structural adhesive kind of laid on the sides there. It does have a spare tire and a jack, so that's good to see. But yeah, kind of cheap, you know, kind of chintzy. The releases for the rear seat are right here. So it's a 60/40 split rear bench, and you can see that's just on a cable there. There we go. And then as far as like the rest of the quality of the interior trunk here, you can see I can kind of move this around. That's fine. I mean, it's just a trunk. It's not a big deal. But I'm going to just show you. Check that out right there. See? Some insulation there. Okay, let's go check out the trunk of the Sonata. All right, so looking at the back end of the Sonata, as you can see, no exhaust tips. Now on the Ultimate, you do get a dual chrome exhaust tip on one side, okay? You do see the 4 parking sensors, just like on the NISSAN Maxima. You got this one, it's got the LED daytime running, or LED running lights, LED brake lights, LED tail lights, all of that stuff. Even the backup lights are LED. It does have the strip along the back here, which is kind of cool. That's all subjective, right? It's all looks. You've got the little bit of the spoiler there as well. It looks kind of nice. But one thing I wanted to show you is the trunk space itself. Now to get into the trunk, there are 2 ways to do it. One, you just stand there. As long as you've got the key with you, boom, the trunk opens up. And look at how high it opens up. Remember how high the Nissan went? It was still pretty much closed. I mean, you had to lift it. But this one actually goes up pretty much all the way. All right, but having a look inside the trunk, as you can see, well, maybe you can't see, it's quite dark, but there is a ton of space in here, guys. There is way more space. Very, very roomy trunk. And check out the little latches to pull when you want to put the seats down. They're actually a nice hard latch. It's a 60/40 split rear bench as well. But you know what? There's actually another way to open up this trunk, and I wanted to show you that before I got too far into things here. So if you don't want to wait for the smart trunk, there's a cool little nifty feature on this. Now in the Maxima, you put your hand underneath and you pull the little button. On this one, check this out. It's right there in the badge. How cool is that? All right, so now you remember I lifted up the trunk floor in the Nissan, and there was basically a piece of insulation covered, you know, covering a chunk of pressboard wood, literally a piece of wood in the back of the vehicle. This one is an engineered product, all insulated, completely covered on both sides, very nicely made. You do have a storage compartment in this one. The storage compartment can be removed if you really want to put a spare tire in, but of course, being a hybrid, instead of giving you a spare tire, they give you a tire mobility kit. Now, the Ultimate version of the Sonata does come with a spare tire. This being the hybrid, you get the mobility kit. Now I want you to look at the actual quality of everything else. So you remember, I was actually able to pull down the interior lining of the trunk quite easily. This one here, I mean, it's way up there. It's solid. I can't pull it down. I can move it a little bit, but there is insulation behind it. You just can't see it. It's not, you know, it's not just letting loose and falling like the Nissan. So much better design in the trunk here. A little bit more money and time spent on the R&D and the research and development, even as it comes down onto the floor of the trunk here. Of course, you can see a little bit of that structural adhesive down here as well. That's not unusual for a trunk. Now, one place I do got to give Nissan the win is on closing the trunk. So the old Sonata did have this, but for some reason in 2021, or 2020 rather, they took it out, and that is the interior handle to put down the trunk. So on the new Sonata, you do need to close the trunk from the outside. Now finally, just the tail lights themselves. I want to go over real quick the design and the tail lights. So this is the Nissan Maxima. As you can see, it's a good looking LED light, but you'll notice it kind of darkens down right here. So it's nice and bright over here, and it darkens down in the corners. Now, as a car enthusiast, this is the type of thing that I notice. So let's have a look at the Sonata and see if it's any better. Honestly, I don't even know if it is. I haven't really scrutinized it. Let's have a look. All right, so having a look at this one here, so you can very clearly see that it's an LED as it's kind of going ballistic on my screen here. I'll see if I can correct that, but I don't think so. It's not going to let me. So basically what you're seeing is just because of the fact that the refresh rate of the LEDs is different than what's on the camera. That's why you're seeing those lines. Tough to see, but in person I can promise you it's a nice, clear, and consistent brightness all the way across, and it looks spectacular. Now, having a look at the back end, you can see we've got a little bit of piano black on the back here, but there's no fake venting going on. It's just, this is what the car looks like. They're not trying to, make it look more aggressive by putting fake vents or fake dampers or anything like that. It just is what it is. Let's check out the Nissan. All right, the tail end of the Nissan is pretty standard looking. I mean, it's not an ugly vehicle by any means. It looks pretty good, especially with those the quad chrome tip exhaust. But here you can see we've got that fake venting going on here, which I don't know, I can't stand that stuff. Now, Hyundai is definitely no saint when it comes to fake cladding. There is definitely some of our vehicles that do have that, but on the Sonata it doesn't have any, which is good to see. Let's check under the hood. All right, so the first time I tried to get under the hood of this vehicle, I was a little bit confused. I was looking basically dead center, trying to find it, and it wasn't quite dead center. The good thing is it's not that far off, it's just to the right, so not a big deal, but I noticed that to actually access it, it's not quite as easy. Like you can see, I'm not catching it here. I kind of got to bend my finger downwards. It's a little bit uncomfortable. So a little bit easier to do it this way, but then your hand is the wrong direction to lift the hood. Yeah, so anyway, there it is. Not a huge deal, but again, pay attention to the little things, the little details. Okay, so under the hood, we're having a look at the engine bay here. Now this is a V6, 300 horsepower, 261 foot-pounds of torque. It's a quick vehicle, 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds, much faster than the Sonata, to be honest. I mean, the Sonata is closer to 8 seconds, but I mean, to be fair, with the Sonata, you're using about 40% less fuel. So, and you know what? Most people don't spend their days at the drag strip. So anyway, having a look under the hood. By the way, if you do want to get a 300 plus horsepower Sonata, hang in there, the N line is coming. All right, so looking under the hood, I want to show you a couple places where Hyundai is ridiculously meticulous, and you don't see that same level of ridiculous meticulousness in other companies. So first off, let's go with insulation. So having a look at the insulation under the hood here, we've got a little bit covering whatever the heck this component is. We have some along the side here, and you can see it's just kind of flopping around. Check out the sort of leaf guard here. It looks like a cheap dollar store sponge. Okay, the insulation on the hood. Now, if you have an older car, you may notice that this starts to tear after a while. Okay, so that's the insulation story. It does have insulation along the firewall. You can see a little bit right here as well. Now, for a comparison, let's go check out the Sonata before we come back to the Nissan. All right, so popping the hood of the Sonata, pretty much dead center, and you'll notice as I unlock it, I can lift it right away. I don't have to like bend my fingers weird or use two hands. I can do it with one hand very easily. So first thing you'll note, there's a lot more space in here. You've got room down here to work if you're doing maintenance, room along the back to do maintenance. It's very easy to work on. So Hyundais historically have, low cost of ownership because of the fact that, quite frankly, when things need to get done, they're pretty easy to work on. All right, so let's check out the insulation story on this one. So first off, you can see we have a little bit of covering on the insulation over here. Not nearly as much insulation around the wheel wells and stuff, but you know what? The Sonata is extremely quiet. I don't know which vehicle is quieter, to be quite frank. I haven't driven them both, but the Sonata has, been noted to be very quiet. But you can see that plastic covering going all the way to the back. And check out this little leaf guard right here. Yeah, the other one from the Nissan was like a cheap dollar store material. Check this out. So this is actually an engineered product. It's actually quite strong. Good stuff. Like, that's not going to disintegrate over time. The whole back, you can see not only is it insulated from sound, also from heat right here. And you got the insulation going all the way across the top there. And then the insulation on the hood is also very well done. Again, good engineered product. Can't get my finger under there. It's not bouncing up and down. That's going to last a long time. Now, in regards to the powertrain in the Sonata, it's 192 horsepower combined with the combination of the gas and the electric motor together. And get this, 271 foot-pounds of torque. So actually, they're rivals as far as torque goes. So that's why when you're accelerating from a stop, this is actually quite a torquey little engine. Now, of course, with that fuel economy rating, I mean, it's spectacular, right? It gets about 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers, a little bit better, versus the about 8 liters per 100 kilometers on the Nissan. So very, very fuel efficient, very well put together, lots of space to work on. You can even see the cold air intake, factory cold air intake right here. It pulls nice fresh air from the front of the vehicle. And that's actually in front of this little seal that runs all along the hood there to stop that air from getting too far into the motor and causing drag. All right, so back at the Nissan, the last thing I want to point out on the outside of the vehicle before we jump into the vehicle is the hood. Now, you may have noticed, if you're a car enthusiast or you watch a lot of car videos, when you see, videos of or pictures of the Jaguars out there, the Aston Martins, all those beautiful cars, what you'll never see is this cut line right across here. So the hood and the bumper are two separate, unrelated pieces because that is actually cheaper to manufacture and it's easier to manufacture. I want you to see what it looks like on the Sonata. Notice that that is a one-piece hood all the way to the front. Now, that's not an easy engineering feat, to be honest. You have to take into account not only forward crash protection, but even pedestrian detection. In the event a pedestrian gets hit by the vehicle, it's not as easy to actually create a safe impact zone for a pedestrian when you have a single piece hood like that. So again, Hyundai technicians, R&D, doing everything they can to make a beautiful vehicle and including luxury features such as the one-piece hood. All right, so now it's time to get into the vehicle. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up not the front door, but rather the rear door. And I want to show you a couple things here. So we're opening up the rear door of the Nissan Maxima. So first thing I want to point out, now you may have seen some of the build quality issues in the Nissan in the front there when I had the hood open, like the structural adhesive kind of dripping down in places. It just wasn't neat and clean. But another thing that is important is how things are structurally put together. Now, Hyundai is the only company that manufactures their own steel. No other brand has a steel manufacturing plant, just Hyundai. So Hyundai does that for Kia and for Genesis as well. So keep those brands in mind as well if you're in the market. But I want to show you something here. Let's have a look at the rear door structure. So the window part here, you can see as it comes up, it's welded right here, and note, look at this. There's actually a little bit of plastic covering coming off. This vehicle is brand new, you guys. It has like 600 kilometers on it. If we go a little bit further down, you can see it's welded right here as well. Then it's also welded right here with a really poorly done weld. If we go further around, it looks like one piece all the way to here. Here's the other part. That's another welded point. So welded there, and it's welded there as well. So welded there, welded there, welded there, welded there, and then one piece on the bottom. So with approximately 30% advanced high strength steel, this vehicle is put together fairly well. It's not a top safety pick like the Sonata, but it does get 5-star crash safety ratings from the National Highway Transportation Administration. Let's have a look at the rear door on the Sonata. Now, it's not just the rear doors, guys, it's the front doors as well, okay? So opening up the Sonata, having a look in those same spots, totally smooth. Totally smooth there, all the way around along the bottom, all the way up in this corner and across. The whole door is one single stamped piece of metal. In an event of a collision, weld points are the points that fail. This is one solid piece. I also want to point out that the B-pillars are also advanced high-strength steel. And in order to have a B-pillar made of advanced high-strength steel, Hyundai actually had to come up with a completely new steel stamping technology. It's called multi-temperature stamping, and it's basically where they can stamp part of it with hot stamp and the other part cold stamp, and it creates advanced high-strength steel part of the beam and mild steel on the other part of the beam, or something to that effect. I can't remember the exact terminology. But in any event, that technology was freely given to other manufacturers to use because Hyundai wants vehicles to be safe. They don't want to just pass tests. All right, let's have a look at the front doors. So we've got the proximity entry on both vehicles, of course, but there's no light in here. This doesn't light up as you approach. There's no lights that light up as you approach. So proximity entry, very similar to the Sonata. You'll notice we got the keyhole there. Let's have a look at the Sonata here. Now this one, Does have proximity entry as well, an easy to see button, body colored handles, this chrome stuff, and there's actually a light right inside here. I don't know if you can see it, probably not, can't quite get the angle, but there's a little LED light that brightens up this whole area, and you'll notice that the keyhole is actually covered up. It's behind this cover, just to make the vehicle look aesthetically pleasing. All right, I've jumped in front of the Nissan Maxima because not to show you the front yet, but to show you the space in the back. So that's my next thing to show you is the legroom, headroom of the back seat. But I wanted to show you that first I've actually set up the driving position that I would use for driving this vehicle. And I'm gonna get out of the vehicle and back into the back seat so you can see I'm not trying to cheat. So let's jump into the back seat. All right, so first impression's pretty good. It's actually quite comfortable. You can see I don't really have any leg room left. The front seat is, like I said, where I would want it, but I couldn't go any further back if I had somebody of my height behind me. As far as headroom, it's not terrible. I've got about a finger's width above my head until I hit the roof, and that's sitting up normal. I'm not like sitting up straight. If I sit up straight, I can actually touch the roof. The back of the seat is soft. You do have seat back pockets here. The rear seats are heated as well. You've got two levels here, high and low. And you've got a USB-C port and a regular USB port. My feet can slide under the seat. It is pretty good. It's not totally flat, but it's pretty flat. The seats themselves are really beautiful, quilted leather actually, very, very nice looking seats. And you also have the center cup holder armrest. Now with the center cup holder armrest, I don't know if you heard it flopping down there, but it just sits on the bench. You do have a spot for a phone and two cup holders. They're not articulated or anything, they're just that size is it. And then we can put that up. And as you can see along the ceiling here, we've got the two-panel sunroof. Nice look. We've got some LED lights in the headliner. And then we've got this beautiful sunshade back here. That's something that you won't see in the Sonata, so a win there. All right, let's have a look at the Sonata. All right, once again, I have the vehicle put into the exact position that I would drive it in. As you can see, my legs aren't cramped up. I've got lots of space. I'm in a very nice, comfortable position. And now I'm going to go straight from the front seat into the back seat so you can see the difference in headroom and legroom without me adjusting the seat. Okay. All right, so right away you can see I've got more space here. I've got about an inch and a half-ish of space in front of my legs, so very, very comfortable. My feet, again, placement, very similar actually. It's about the same. The seat's not up or down or anything right now. It's kind of in the middle, the front seat. As far as the headroom, definitely have way more headroom in here. If I sit up very straight, I still can't hit it. I've got easily twice as much headroom in the Sonata. As far as the seats themselves, beautiful looking seat. They're not quilted leather like the Nissan, and quite frankly, they're not as soft. So this leather is durable. It's going to last long, but it's honestly not as soft as the Nissan. So the Nissan wins there. One thing I will point out is that we do have hard seat backs in the Sonata. So if you do have kids back here pushing into the seat, you're not going to feel that as the driver. Only one USB port back here. Okay, we do have vents like the Maxima, and you got a single seat back pocket. So a couple of wins for the Nissan, a couple of wins for the Sonata, but if you do have taller children or if you're going to be carrying adults, the Sonata is definitely the more comfortable place to be. Having a look at the rear door, you can see we've got heated seats back here as well. Two levels, just like the Maxima. A little bit nicer design on the doors themselves though. The actual handle is integrated really nicely. As you can see, it kind of goes all the way from here to here when you're going to grab the door. So if it's wide open, you can still grab it right from here to close it. Same goes for the front door, and I'll have a look at the Maxima because I didn't check that out before. But the next thing would be the center cup holder armrest. So we fold that down. We do have two cup holders, again, non-articulating. There's a pass-through in the middle, but there's no spot for a cell phone like in the Maxima. But you'll notice, again, Hyundai being ridiculously meticulous, has actually mounted or designed this in such a way that it doesn't flop down on the seat. So it's at a nice, comfortable position, about the same height as the armrests on the doors. All right, jumping back out of the vehicle, I still haven't moved the front seat. We're in the Sonata still. I want to put the seat down just to see how much space we have here. Now we can put the seat down. As you can see, there's quite a bit of space between the seat and the backrest, and it's again very, very nicely designed, nicely laid out. I will point out though, there is a bit of a ramp up here to get to the seat back. Let's check out the Maxima. All right, so opening the trunk of the Maxima. That's another thing I can't stand when they do is they off-center that button. That drives me crazy. All right, so we open it up. We pull the little pull tab here. Not quite as satisfying as a click of the Sonata, but still all right. And we put the seat back down. See? Why? All right, I gotta move the front seat first. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Okay, seat back is down. Now, I'm not sure which one of them is flatter. We can have a quick look. Again, a bit of a ramp up to the seat back. Not quite as bad as the Sonata, but as you can see, cheap. I don't like that. That is just, I mean, it's not as though you can pull these covers off easily, but yeah, just, all right, let's have a look at the angle here. There's the angle in the Maxima. And now for the Sonata. Again, clean, well laid out. The angle doesn't look as bad, actually. It's not quite as much of an angle. So loading in larger objects, probably going to be a little nicer on the Sonata. All right, so before I climb into the driver's seat, let's have a look at the seat mechanics here. So the seat goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10-way adjustable power. And then the lower sort of thigh support does extend out and in a little tiny bit. It's got the lumbar support there as well. That's that guy. And then the headrests only go up and down. Let's check out the Sonata. All right, on the Sonata we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-way power adjustable as well. No thigh support, so the Nissan gets the win there on the driver's seat. All right, and I'll give the Nissan the win on the passenger seat as well, as it does have height adjustment. In the current Sonata Hybrid Ultimate, it does not have height adjustment. The passenger seat on the Nissan doesn't have the lower sort of thigh adjustment though. All right, they do both have the settings for the memory. Now it's memory, seating, and mirrors. This one does have a power adjustable steering wheel, so you got a little button on the left hand side here. You can adjust the steering wheel. In the Sonata it is manual, so that's something also to keep in mind. So there are definitely a few wins on the Nissan, but now that we're in the interior and I can go over some of the tech features, I think you're going to be real impressed with that Sonata. So let's go over some of the things that we're seeing in this vehicle. So we've got auto up and down on both the windows. That's pretty standard. That'll be the same in the Sonata. We also, of course, have automatic headlights and automatic wipers on both vehicles. Nothing's changed there. We have the Bose audio system in this vehicle as well as the Sonata, so really, really good sound systems in both vehicles. Having a look down at the center console, you can see we've got a sport mode. So one thing I'll show you in the Sonata is the different drive modes. This one just has sport mode. We have some controls here for the screen, so if you'd rather not use the touch screen, you can use buttons on the center console here. So this is a up, down, left, right. It's also a turn knob, and then you got a back button, a menu, and a map voice. Takes you to the map screen, and also
proceed to the nearest road.
Gives you the last voice command. You got heated and ventilated seats, so that's the little controls there. And then 2 cup holders, non-articulated cup holders. A spot for your phone, no wireless charger though, USB-C and USB-A, as well as an auxiliary port, and that can be covered up as well. Some piano black here. It's got a little bit of a sparkle in it, so it's not quite jet black, but it's pretty close. You got dual zone climate control. It is just a single auto. There is no multi-level auto. 8-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Some physical buttons on both sides, as well as a physical knob for the volume and the tuning system. You can enable the camera real quick, but I'm going to show you some differences in the camera system. On the steering wheel, we've got multimedia controls on the left-hand side, as well as drive controls on the right-hand side. However, there's multimedia controls over here and drive controls over here. They didn't separate it, they kind of mixed it up, and that's kind of annoying, but I'll show you why later on. You do have a D-cut steering wheel, so a nice flat bottom, makes it a little easier to get in and out. The steering wheel itself is comfortable. It's a heated steering wheel. I haven't checked out to see where it actually heats, so I'm going to turn that on now and see how hot it gets around the outside. It is a leather wrap with perforated leather around the grips. It's a little rough, but other than that, it's comfortable. All right, before we get too far into this one, let's go check out the Sonata. And as I exit the vehicle, I notice that it only has the handle in this one spot. So if the door is all the way open, all right, now if you're like me, you've got long arms, so you can probably reach over and grab it pretty easily. But if you're older or you got shorter arms, as you can see, just my fingertips are hitting it. My shoulder is all the way to the almost outside of the car, as you can see. All right, let's check out the Sonata there. All right, so I've jumped into the Sonata and we're gonna have a look and see how far it takes to reach the door. So let me see, so fingertips there and my arm is still inside the vehicle. That's kind of a subjective thing. It's hard to see, but I can definitely reach that easier than I can in the Nissan because that door grip, basically the handle goes all the way up to here. So a little bit easier to get to. As you can see, we've got the Bose symbol there. And we've got the memory seating and mirrors as well. Now, not only does it do the mirrors and the seats, it also adjusts the light level, the user light level in the vehicle as well. All right, having a look at the dashboard down here, you can see we've got the power e-brake. So they do both have a automatic power emergency brake, which is good to see. This one actually has no 12-volt accessory battery, so it's got a button to jump start itself if you ever kill the battery, which is kind of cool. They both have lane keep assistance, and of course they both have traction and stability control. No real difference there. On the steering wheel of the Sonata, you do have the paddle shifters on the back, which is kind of cool. Didn't see that in the Nissan. All of your multimedia controls are on the left-hand side here, and all of your drive controls are on the right-hand side, and there's no vice versa. This controls drive and stuff like that with the things that are on the screen. This controls just multimedia, it does nothing else. Having a look at the center console, you can see we've got the parking sensor button, the view button for the camera system, which again, I will go over momentarily. You got different drive modes. So on the Nissan Maxima, we had sport mode and normal. In this one, you have sport, custom, smart, and eco. And you'll notice, as I put it into sport mode, everything kind of changes. Because this vehicle actually has a digital dash. That's one thing that we don't see on the Nissan. The Nissan does have a screen in the center, but it's not a digital dashboard. On this one, we do also have the fly-by-wire transmission. Now, a lot of people are probably yelling at your screen going, "No, I hate those stupid fly-by-wire transmissions. Give me my shift stick." Well, you know what? This isn't 20 years ago. We're not living in the dark ages, and we don't need shift sticks anymore. Transmissions are automatic. Things are electronic. Why put a shift stick in when there doesn't need to be one? Plus, this is a lot safer, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to put my seatbelt on. I'm going to put the car into reverse. I'm going to back it up a little bit. The trunk might still be open. All right, now I'm going to go forwards a little bit. I'm going to stop, and I'm not going to put it into park. I'm going to take my seatbelt off. I'm going to show you the D on the instrument cluster there. I'm going to open up the door, see if I can get this all in one here. Boom, we're in park. I've taken my foot off the brake and I'm getting out of the car. I'm not killing anyone. I'm not running over myself, God forbid. Okay. So I'm putting my seatbelt on. I'm putting it into reverse first because that's what I did on the other one. I see the other car behind me here, no problem. Putting it into drive, letting go of the brake, moving forwards a little bit. I'm coming to a stop. I'm leaving it in drive. I'm opening the door. I'm taking my foot. Oh, Jesus, I'm moving. All right. You still think a shift stick is better? Come on, guys. Get with the times. Push button transmissions are better. Simple as that. Not to mention, if I want to do a quick 5-point turn, I'm not having to do this. I'm just pushing buttons. Reverse drive, reverse drive. It's so much quicker. It's the better, safer way to go. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the backup camera. Putting the vehicle into reverse. As you can see, I have dynamic steering lines. I've got a top-down 360 view. I can't change any of the settings. One thing I will point out though, I think this screen is polarized, which drives me crazy. If you're wearing polarized sunglasses, you're gonna have trouble seeing that screen. But I want you to see actually the quality of the image here. So look at that car behind us. That of course is the Sonata that we're about to sit in next. Now look at the car to the left of it. That's another Sonata. So kind of blurry, kind of grainy. And then the top-down view, you got these black bars here separating. Of course, it's using 4 cameras and trying to pair them all together. Let's compare that now to the Sonata. We're going to go jump in the Sonata and try its backup camera. All right, so we're in the Sonata. The first thing I just noticed, actually, I got in, I was like, you know, it's way cooler in here. The whole seat is cool, because one of the things I found was with the ventilated seats is that the entire seat cools off all the way to the front underneath my legs and all the way up my back. In the Nissan, it's only my lower back that's getting cooled down, and then a slight bit of my butt. The rest of it just isn't. So the cooled seat in this works way better, and it's actually nice and cool in this vehicle. It's staying cool. For whatever reason, every time I get into the Nissan, it's warm. But one thing I want to point out, we have multi-layer on the automatic system for the climate control system. And even in level 3, it's not nearly as loud as it was in the Nissan. I don't know if you guys noticed that on the microphone there, if it was picking it up, but the fan was still going crazy in that Nissan. It just wasn't cooling down. It's way cooler in here. Okay, let's check out the backup camera now. All right, so as you can see on the backup camera screen, look at how clear that thing is, guys. So let me just focus in a little bit here. So a much clearer image, even on the vehicles back here, like this truck back here looks way clearer than even this vehicle was behind the Nissan. The top-down view, nice, clean, seamless image. You know, it doesn't have the weird black bars everywhere. You do get the dynamic steering lines, and as you can see, they work nice and smooth. There's, look at that, somebody's walking in behind us. That's perfect timing. And also, we have some controls on the screen that I can actually play with. So if I want to see, for instance, a top-down view, I can do that on this vehicle. I can't do that in the Nissan. If I want to see my blind spot view, I can do that as well on both sides. Now with the Nissan, you can have one side view on at a time, so you can do that. I also have controls here for brightness and contrast, and then some different options in here that I can change. Like I can even zoom I can have a zoomed in view or zoomed out view. I'll put it on zoomed out so you can see. So this is now much more zoomed out. So some good options there. But the other thing you can do with the cameras on this vehicle that you can't do in the Nissan is this. If you put your left turn signal on, it shows you a view down the left-hand side. You put the right turn signal on, it shows you a view down the right-hand side. How cool is that? So I mean, again, you know, this vehicle it's a good $5,000 or so less. More than that, actually. It's like $6,000 less than the Nissan. The Nissan's got more power, but that's basically where it stops. It's got a couple other little things like the power adjustable steering wheel, the sunshade in the back. That's about it. Looking at the cup holders, we were looking at the Nissan cup holders before. They didn't really have anything special. They were non-articulated. This one actually has little spring articulations that can hold the smaller cup. As you can see, I can pull out this and clean it out really easily. And there's actually a spot for a cell phone right here as well, if you want a cell phone to sit there. Or another thing you won't find in the Nissan Maxima is a Qi wireless charging pad. Now this is a 40-watt, fastest in the industry charging pad. It's so fast, it's ridiculous. It'll charge a phone faster than pretty much any other branded vehicle out there, with the exception of Kia and Genesis, as they are Hyundai products. You do also have a couple of USB ports up here. There's no auxiliary port because, again, we're not living in the dark ages. There's a 12-volt power outlet there. The climate control looks spectacular. There's a lot of piano black in here. I will say that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of piano black. But it looks really nice. There's a couple of touch-sensitive buttons up along the sides of the screen. I'm going to get to that in a second. What's cool about the climate control system, though, is that 3-level system, which is pretty cool. You've got the buttons for the heated and cooled seat in here as well, and that's kind of nice to see because that's part of your comfort, right? I mean, in the Nissan, I don't know if you remember, but the heated and cooled seat buttons were down here on the console, and the heated steering wheel button was way over on the left side of the dash. I mean, if it's comfort related, shouldn't it all be in the same place? It just makes sense. Hyundai is always thinking about better ways to do things, and just putting those little things in the climate system makes perfect sense. You got the each individual temperature right on the knob, which looks gorgeous. You've got this nice knurled finish on the knobs, which is really nice as well. And the heated steering wheel, guys, is all of the steering wheel. All the way around, 360 degrees of the steering wheel is heated. Now, let's talk about this screen. So, a 10-inch non-polarized screen, and I'm going to demonstrate its capability by showing you the map. So here's the map. Beautiful full screen map. Of course, you can have different views as well. You got your top down view, you got your top down with north always facing one direction, and then you've got your 3D view. So really nice. It's responsive. It works well. As far as the mapping system goes, I wouldn't say one is better than the other. I'd say they're about the same. The voice recognition system works about the same as well. However, there's something weird in the Nissan, and I'll show you that next. I'm going to try it in here first.
Please say a command.
Find the nearest Canadian Tire.
Please
Line 1.
You will be guided
Okay,
to the
so I don't know if
first
you noticed that,
destination
but I
list.
didn't let her finish talking. I just cut it off and I said line 1. Okay, so there it goes. It's giving me the recommended route, it's giving me the alternate route, and there it goes. It's starting the guidance already. I can hit start guidance, or I can just start driving and it'll start guiding. So when we hit
Please
start
proceed
guidance,
to the highlighted route, then the route guidance will start.
it comes up. It's pretty cool. I can have the route guidance on this screen as well. So that's going to tell me exactly which way to go. And I've also got head-up display. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. It's going to come up again in a second. Let's use the back of that Nissan. I can see it very clearly, guys, but in the camera, it might be difficult to see. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So there you can see we've got the directions, we've got the speed at which you can go, because it's going to have the actual speed limit there as well, and it's going to have my things like my turn directions, my blind spot monitoring, my lane keep assist information. All of that comes up on the head-up display, of which is just not possible in the Nissan because it doesn't even have a head-up display. So let's go over the Nissan and check out its navigation and backup camera. All right, so back in the Nissan, you know what? I'm going to close the sunroof. Maybe that'll help. It still feels warm in here, and I've got it actually set to a ½ degree cooler than the Sonata. The seat, again, it's just my butt and lower back, or part of my butt and my lower back. Anyway, so putting it into reverse, first thing you're going to notice, as I mentioned before, notice how blurry everything looks, okay? It just looks cheap. It's like technology from 5 years ago. All right, having a look at the map. So the map looks fine. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty clear. Again, I can have the different views just like in the Hyundai, the 3D view. I'm going to set up a route here and show you what I mean by the weirdness. So if I hit the voice recognition,
Please say or select a command.
find the nearest Canadian Tire.
Please wait. Navigate to Canadian
Line
Tire.
1.
Please say or
Line
select
1.
another
Line 1.
number from
Line
the
1.
displayed list, or select a
1,
different
1, 1,
tab.
1, 1. 1.
1.
All right, so I can't
Calculate
cut her
route
off.
and adjust location.
And then I also have to say calculate route.
Calculating route.
Like, isn't it obvious that I want to calculate the route? Like,
The
why
route
do I need to say
calculation
that?
is complete.
Anyway,
Proceed to the
there it
nearest
goes.
road.
And it's on. Now, obviously I don't have the head-up display as I mentioned, but I don't seem to have turn-by-turn directions in here as well. I went through the menu, again, thinking it was on this side, but it's actually on this side. You got to press these two buttons here to kind of go through the different things on the screen. And here's the navigation one right here. And there's just nothing in there. It has the direction that I'm traveling, and that's it. I don't know if there's a way to put it up there. If there is, please leave a comment down below. If there isn't, well, that's stupid. All right, guys, so that's the navigation system. Again, unfortunately, not quite as nice. Do you notice how loud the system is here? I've got it on auto. It's really loud, right? I mean, it's significantly louder in here than the Sonata, and we're just sitting still. And that's just the climate control system. So I'm going to turn that down a bit. That's better. Wow, that passenger seat is really loud, the ventilated seat. Oh, that's what I'm hearing. So the ventilated seat, let's turn that off. It's still louder. So the climate control by itself is louder than the ventilated seats and the climate control in the Sonata. It seems minor, but you know what? It's a thing. I'm noticing it a lot. Get in the vehicle, try it out, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm sure it's not just Nissan Maximas either. It's probably the other vehicles too. But yeah, the other thing I noticed was not only are there controls here and here for that center screen, there's also more down here. Nissan, if you're by any chance watching this video, which I highly doubt, but man, if there's somebody out there that does and they're able to get in touch with Nissan, please tell them to organize their layout. Like seriously, why do I need 3 different locations to control one screen? It just doesn't make any sense. And as far as the screen over here, I mean, yeah, you can control it by touching it. At least, you know, if there happens to be a touch-sensitive button that you can use. But let's say I want to go back to the home screen. I have to do that using a physical button, which is fine. Physical buttons are good. The home screen the layout is just not nearly as nice either. Small screen, not a very nice layout. And who needs a CD player these days, guys? Like, seriously. No, but really, I mean, very few people use CD players anymore. So to quick recap, I mean, just some of the things that are in my memory here. So obviously no head-up display, no full digital instrument cluster. It's just analog on the sides, little small screen in the middle. The layouts for the buttons, where they've put different things, is kind of ridiculous. Oh, I got the heated steering wheel on, by the way. Okay, so yeah, it's obviously it's hot up here because it's in the sun, but nothing down here. Nothing. Maybe the grip. No, that grip's not warm. That was just in the sun. Yep, it's only the top half of the steering wheel. The bottom half of the steering wheel doesn't get heated. So a much better climate control system, more well laid out buttons as far as the steering wheel goes and the dashboard goes. A full 360 heated steering wheel in the Sonata. Oh, the ambient lighting, by the way, in the Sonata, you can actually change in the Ultimate. You can change colors. In this one, it's just one color. You can change the brightness. As far as the build quality, the interior build material quality and stuff like that, I'd have to give the edge to the Nissan. It's got some nice, you know, material quality on the dashboard, some soft touch materials. The wood grain is kind of cool. It's got this like almost like a diamond pattern in there. Don't get me wrong, they're both really nice. This one is maybe slightly nicer. It's not more comfortable. And it definitely has some scratchy plastics, but it's a little tiny bit nicer. I guess that's subjective too, though. And I do like the quilted seats. No blind view monitor. The stop and go adaptive cruise on this vehicle doesn't exist. If it stops, it stops. You have to get back up to 20 kilometers an hour or 30 kilometers an hour again, and then hit resume. With the Sonata, when you stop, you know, it'll go again if the vehicle in front of you moves within 3 seconds. This one won't do that. There's no attention monitor in this system. The speed limit is wrong on the roads here. It's saying that the road next to us is 60 kilometers an hour. It's not, it's 50. And there's no updates available on the navigation system. I checked that today. And I apologize, earlier I said it had no blind spot monitor. It does, but I don't see an icon in the mirror, so I'm not sure exactly how that works, but I can see the icon in the dashboard. I also didn't see any indications of rear cross traffic alert. Leave a comment below if you know whether or not it has it. I haven't seen anything in the system settings for that. The Hyundai also has a better warranty, guys. 5-year, 100,000 that covers almost everything in the car. 3 years of free Blue Link as well on top of that. 3 months free of Sirius XM radio. This one is 3 years or 60,000 kilometers, like limited comprehensive coverage, and then just powertrain beyond that. So a much better warranty from Hyundai on their vehicle. So I know this has been a long video. There's been a lot of things to compare. I think the Nissan gets it a little bit on aesthetics, as far as, you know, the material qualities that they use in the vehicle. The chrome exhaust tips look cool, that sort of thing. The wheels are a little bit bigger, 19-inch, and of course it gets it on the power, 300 horsepower versus the 192 horsepower on the Sonata. Torque doesn't win there because the torque is almost exactly the same. But as far as organizational things like features, as far as technology goes, the screens, the safety features, the warranty, all of that stuff, the Hyundai just destroys the Maxima. And it's not just, like I said, it's not just the Maxima. You'll see this sort of trend in other vehicles from Nissan versus Hyundai. And I think it's well known that Hyundai does really, really well on features. But I hope, you know, you saw some of the things like how the doors were put together, the structural steel usage, the structural adhesive usage, the little bit, you know, the build quality under the hood, the way that those things are put together, even the trunk lining. Don't forget all of that stuff. That's important. So Hyundai definitely wins on build quality between the two. Material quality is higher on this one, but the build quality is a little bit better on the Hyundai. The interior space, trunk space, legroom, headroom in the back seat especially, all better on the Hyundai. Legroom and headroom in the front is perfectly fine, acceptable on this vehicle. As a matter of fact, I'd say it's about the same as the Sonata, but definitely not in the back. So again, I apologize for the lengthy video. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching the whole video, guys. I appreciate all the support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for future videos. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Take care.